Hey, and welcome to video number 4, designing your layout for WordPress. In this specific video, I'm going to show you basically how to create a mock-up of your premium WordPress theme. So let's jump right in. So what I'm about to show you is what I do with every WordPress theme that I've developed over the years. Whether it's designing a WordPress theme for a local business, option number 1, or a premium WordPress theme. You have to create a mock-up design so that your designer has an idea of where everything is going to be. And if you find a good designer, they're going to be able to take what you've created, the structure, and then create the design. So don't necessarily worry about the design right now. Focus on the layout. So if I go back here, the things that stood out to me were the logo here, the opt-in form here, a slider here, possibly something underneath it. I'm thinking maybe a map, and then some content here, maybe some news items below that, and then a footer. That's what I'm thinking. And then maybe up here, what I like up here is the call us number. And because my purpose is to create a WordPress theme specifically for generating leads, I would assume that most people need to be sold on the first page. So maybe I'm not necessarily worried about or concerned about creating a secondary page. So maybe I can just eliminate the navigation bar. So once I figured out, okay, what layout do I want? I can go to Paint. You don't need anything fancy. You can use a Photoshop if you want to do that. You can use Paint. I'm using Paint because I want to show you that you can start from scratch here and just create the whole layout. So obviously, I'm going to look for my square shape tool. And I don't want to fill it up. I do want a border though. So let's see here. Maybe border size will be like this. And it'll look like this. Now, I'm thinking possibly a logo up here. Maybe like somewhere in the corner here. Like a logo here. And maybe I'll turn that color to brown, and maybe the call us number over here, and let's make that green or brown, whatever. Basically I would just make them different colors, and then I would say something like, let's do a tagline right under here. And it's not going to be perfect, but you know what? I'm going to go here, make a tagline. So this is kind of like the headline area there. And there won't be anything between here. It'll just be contact, kind of a logo or the company name. Then we have over here the contact number, tagline under here. I like the slider here. So I'm going to say, we'll just do a blue kind of a slider. Big slider here. And right over here, I'm going to put some sort of like contact form. So maybe I'll do red for contact form. Now I'm going to label all this later on. I just want you to know kind of what I'm creating. Now, when you're creating a premium theme, you got to think if and else statements. And here's what I mean by that. For example, if I put this as a logo, let's say somebody doesn't have a logo. What then? Well, maybe if somebody doesn't have a logo, I can put the company name. And over here, this is normally would be a call us number, so a phone number. But what if somebody wanted to link it to, let's say, a free gift? Then maybe I can give that option as well. And then we have the tagline here. I'd assume that most people might want to change the background of the tagline and then maybe the background of the slider. Now this could be a video or a slider. This could be an opt-in where somebody fills in a quote kind of thing, or even a contact form. And I got to think, okay, well, some people will want to enter their own contact form, while other people may want to be able to use a contact form without having to know, anything about Aweber or GetResponse or anything like that. So from that point, okay, I'm going to put, let's say, a map. I want a map right under here. So I'm going to put a map here, kind of like over here. They got this ad here, but I think because this is for maybe small businesses and so forth, maybe I'll do kind of a map. And then I like this thing here already, so I'm not going to change that. So I'm going to do orange. No, I already did orange there. You got to click it out, and then I'll do purple here. And this right here is going to be kind of those words right there. And let's say that right below that I'm going to have, I don't know, maybe some news items. So I'm going to do, let's do green. So maybe I'll have like 3 news items here. But I don't want to take up too much space, maybe about half of that, half the footer. So let's say, for example, that in this case, I'm going to go from here to a line. I'm going to maybe split this up into 3 sections. Maybe over here, no, over here, and then here. All right, so we got that. So we got 3 different news sections, and right below that I have a footer. So I'm gonna make it, I'll just make it brown again. So we got oops. Go back here, we're gonna make a footer, and I'm thinking maybe the footer will be widgetized, which means people can add widgets. So you gotta think, okay, what areas do you want where somebody could add their own widgets? So I'm going to make this area the footer and make it into widgets. But I'm thinking maybe separate them into 4 different parts. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm going to do now, obviously you want to save it here. And I'm going to, we'll just do files, save it here. I'll just call it mockup design theme. Click on save. And of course, if you're dealing with like local businesses, it's smart to do this because you want to figure out exactly what they want. And if you can figure exactly what they want, all the colors and everything, then it's going to be harder for them to change in the end because they're going to be happy with the end design. So I just want to make that little mental note in there. So that's kind of what I want to do, and I'm going to just label these. So we got, I'm going to say something like slider or video blue, and make it fit inside, of course. And then I'm going to make this an opt-in form, this news item map, news items, and so forth. So I'm just going to pause this video and just basically all I want you to do is label these. Okay, so I basically went through everything and labeled it. So we got the company logo or text here, the call list number, the tagline, the slider or video, the contact form, the map, the news items. We're going to put 3. We're going to put a footer with widgets, I'd say 4 different widgets, and then the welcome text. And we might have inner pages as an option. We'll just figure that out when we get there. But because my audience primarily, I want them to take action right when they land onto the page itself, I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, if you have inner pages, you're going to have to design the inner pages as well. Now, I would recommend that if you design an inner page, what I would do is this. I would go to your file manager, make a duplicate of that image and say mockup design inner page. And then what I would do is I would go back to Paint, edit this. So we're going to edit this with Paint. I can pull up Paint here. And I'm going to drag and drop it over to here. There we go. So inner pages is a little bit different, and your developers are going to need that if you have an inner page. So what I'm thinking is the inner page should all have the company logo and text, the call us number, the tagline, the opt-in form. I want to have as much contact and call action pieces on there, the map, the footer, news items, but maybe this here is going to be removed. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to remove the slider in the video. Actually, a quicker way of doing this is just selecting it. So I'm going to select this all the way down here. I'm going to click on delete, and there we go. Delete this here. I'm going to delete, let's see here. I'll delete this. I got everything here. And what I'm thinking is simply just put a block of text here. So the only main difference between the front page and the inner page is that we have the text here. So I'm gonna just write down here, page or post, and make it big enough so everybody can see it in terms of the designer himself or herself. And there we go. Click save, and when I say create an inner page, what I would recommend that you do is to keep it as simple as possible, because if the closer that you can get it to the original design, the cheaper the cost will be. If you create a really fancy inner page that's not very similar to the original page, it's actually going to be a lot more expensive. So just to keep your costs down in the future. So now what I've done here is I have an idea of what I want to do, kind of the feature list in a general view, the front page and the inner page, and that's it. So now what I can do is I can begin to find designers that will design this for me. Now, obviously, before ending this video, you might want to figure out the color scheme. And the way you can do this is by knowing your niche. If you know your niche, go to Google, type in color meanings, go to images, and let's see here. You could find pretty much what each color means. So view original image, and there we go. So the colors that you use in your design can have a great effect on specific niches. Now, if I go back here, if you're dealing with local businesses, you obviously want to use the colors that fit their specific company. But if you're designing a premium theme, which is option number 2, then I wouldn't necessarily worry about colors right now, because you can actually make it in the control panel where everybody can change specific backgrounds to whatever color that you want it to be. So now that you understand what we're dealing with now, let's move on to the next video.